This episode is brought to you by UiPath. Human achievement can be slow. 200,000 years to go from the wheel to your jalopy? Really? But today, 90% of the Fortune 500 are accelerating human achievement simply. When AI is everywhere, every process can be automated and accelerated. Accelerated. UiPath, the AI everywhere foundation of innovation.
When you hear luxury housing, the first thing you think of probably isn't Boise, Idaho, but our luxury housing market is hot right now. We're talking homes with 25-car garages, fountains, and giant pools. Where are these mansions located and who's buying them? Idaho Statesman reporter Nick Rosenberger is going to give CityCast Boise the lowdown on this exclusive market. It's Monday, April 8th. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. Nick, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Boise real estate used to mostly be known for its middle-class vibes. For decades, Boise was the quintessential middle-class community. But according to your reporting, luxury homes are becoming the new hot commodity in this area. What's causing that shift?
It's really interesting kind of seeing this kind of influx of luxury housing kind of across the Treasure Valley. Years ago, houses never really broke $1 million. It was super, super rare for that kind of thing to happen. And it's getting more common for $1 million, $2 million, $3 million homes to kind of pop up in the Treasure Valley. And I think a lot of that has to do with kind of the growth of the Treasure Valley. You know, Boise has seen pretty tremendous population growth. And that goes for other places too. You know, Caldwell, Meridian, Nampa, those have all seen pretty significant growth. So luxury houses have also kind of blown up as, you know, wealthier folks are moving here as well. So, you know, if you're moving from like Los Angeles to Idaho, you know, you could spend maybe $1 million on a normal sized house in Los Angeles. And here you could spend $1 million and you could get something a decent chunk of land. So I think folks are kind of catering towards that demographic a bit. And so I think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing kind of an influx in luxury real estate listings.
Yeah, you reported that there could be more than 1,000 million-dollar homes sold here in 2024. That's a lot of million-dollar homes. How does that compare to the amount of million-dollar homes sold in previous years?
So, yeah, back in 2019, one of the agents that I talked to, he said that there was only about 3 sales that were over $3 million. That number of over $3 million luxury listings has gone up 700% since 2019. So we had, I believe, 22 listings at $3 million or above in the last year, which is pretty significant.
Yeah.
Especially considering $1.8 million is actually considered the top 1% of home sales in the Treasure Valley. And, you know, some houses are even double. So, you know, you have a home that's sold for $6.2 million, a home that's sold for $6.4 million. And those numbers are probably going to tick upwards. So,
wow, that is a huge jump from just 3 in 2019. And you talked with some local real estate agents in your reporting. And as we all know, the more luxurious a house is, the more expensive the price of the house is going to be, and then the more money the agent will make on the commission. So I assume the real estate agents are pretty happy about this increase in the luxury market?
I think so, yeah. Some of them are able to do, you know, maybe 1 or 2 houses a year and get pretty good pay for that versus having to kind of churn out a lot of smaller things to get a decent pay. And, you know, so some of the people I talked to specifically only focused on luxury listings. One of the agents I talked to, she said that she doesn't do quantity, she does quality. And she's able to find a market to do that and have a sustainable real estate business by only focusing on luxury listings.
How long are the real estate agents saying that these homes are staying on the market? And how does that maybe compare to how long non-luxury homes are staying in the market?
Because there's a smaller pool of people looking at these homes, they tend to stay on the market longer than your normal, you know, median priced home. But with that being said, they are moving pretty fast, especially by historical standards. The top six luxury homes, top six most expensive luxury homes that have been sold in the Treasure Valley, those all were sold or resold in 2022 and 2023. And I believe they were bought up within 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So about 90 days or so is kind of what these houses went for.
Who is buying these luxury homes? And ancillarily to that, what do they do for a living?
I wish I could have done some walkthroughs of these houses that I wrote about and kind of met the owners. But the agents understandably have concerns about privacy issues. One agent I did talk to mentioned that a lot of the people that are buying luxury homes tend to be business owners who maybe are looking to start businesses in Idaho. So that's possibly one demographic. Business owners are wanting to relocate here and get what their money can buy them. Another demographic, they're pretty much the vast majority of people buying these houses are from out of state.
Okay, so it's mostly people relocating. It's not like people in Boise who are really successful and then buying up these really expensive homes.
Yeah, exactly. That's not to say that some of these homes aren't bought by locals.
Yeah.
But the majority of the interest is from out-of-staters.
Yeah, so it seems like even with these really expensive prices and high interest rates that have come down a little bit, that doesn't seem to be dampening enthusiasm for these luxury houses at all.
Yeah. So one of the funny things is that I wasn't really expecting. I was told that a lot of these really high-end buyers don't actually have to worry about interest rates too much.
Oh, really?
A lot of them are able to buy with cash. And so they don't need to take out, a 15 or a 30-year mortgage. So they can kind of avoid that and kind of buy whenever, which may be one of the reasons why there's been like a continued interest in these luxury properties. So, last October, mortgage rates were really, really high. And a lot of people stopped buying houses. But if you don't have to take out a mortgage, then it doesn't really matter if it's like an 8% mortgage. You can just buy it with your money. And so that's, I think, one possible factor of why things have stayed so hot.
Yeah, I guess if you don't have to worry about that interest, you're playing a whole different game.
Yeah, I wish.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
The Vietnam War, it's over. Your job's just begun.
A new HBO original limited series.
Welcome to the world of spycraft. Strap in.
From executive producers Park Chan-wook and Robert Downey Jr.
What are you concealing?
Based on the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel by Viet Thanh Nguyen.
What if I told you that I was a communist spy?
How did you become this?
The Sympathizer, streaming April 14th on Max. Subscription required.
Have you ever watched the real estate show, like Selling Sunset or anything like that?
I have, yes. My fiance and I watched it a few months ago.
Okay.
So yeah, I have watched it.
I think part of the appeal of seeing or of watching these shows is seeing the ostentatious decadence. Like, what do you have to put into a house or on a property that would make it worth $7 million? That is just so outside of the realm of what most of us will ever encounter. So can you maybe describe some of these homes for our listeners? Because I'm imagining giant pools and granite floors and walls and gold-plated fixtures. So what features do these luxury homes have that make them worth that much money?
Yeah. I think that was kind of one of the things that first interested me in pursuing this. You see some of those like expensive houses maybe along Harrison or Warm Springs. And I think that's kind of what kind of flipped the switch in me. And I was like, hey, like, what are the most expensive homes? And like, what do they offer? a lot of these properties out in Eagle and Star, a lot of what they offer is space. You get a good chunk of land, you get maybe access to the Boise River. You're able to put in multiple sport courts. Like I saw one that had a basketball court, some that have tennis courts. You get the jacuzzi. One had a winery attached to it, or not a winery, but like a vineyard.
Oh.
And those grapes were sold to a local winery. I think the craziest one is that there was one home that I think it had a 25-car garage.
Oh,
but people want to be able to take advantage of that space, which maybe you don't have in a bigger city like San Francisco or Seattle or whatnot.
So I would have assumed that these super expensive homes were being built and sold in the Boise foothills, but that's not the case. Where are these expensive homes being sold? You mentioned Star and Eagle. Is that mainly where they're at?
Yeah, so that's what I assumed too. When I was first starting out on these stories, I was like, Boise's gonna for sure have the most expensive houses, maybe along the green belt or up in the foothills or Warm Springs or Harrison. Those kind of areas would definitely have the most expensive homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case in the slightest. Boise does have some expensive homes, but the top 6 most expensive homes are all in Eagle and one in Star.
Okay.
Which that kind of goes back to what I was saying before is you can get space in Eagle that you maybe can't get in Boise. You can have a 25-car garage in Eagle that you probably would have a harder time fitting in the foothills.
Mm-hmm.
One of the agents I talked to said that Eagle is pretty much where everyone is focusing on luxury homes. Not Boise or any of the other bigger cities. It is Eagle hands down.
Interesting. I would not have guessed that. So that's fascinating to me. But I guess if they're wanting to buy homes where they have all this space, like you said, or river access, I guess that does make sense. Do you think with this increase in demand, there would be an increase in builders or construction companies focusing more on these luxury homes where they could make significantly more profit, as opposed to, if you're going to spend the time building a house that you can sell for $6 million versus a house you can sell for $450,000? Do you think that's going to shift where developers are focusing?
I don't know if there's a continued increase in new luxury listings. I think a lot of them have been built and are kind of just changing hands at even higher prices.
Okay.
So, some of the homes that were built in, 2010, 2012. One of the homes, the home with the vineyard, I believe that was built in 2000, but then remodeled. And so some of the houses are newly built. I think there was a $5.2 million one that was newly built. But I don't know if there's just like giant construction spree of building these luxury listings that's going to threaten the market for middle or lower income buildings as well.
Okay, Nick, the Powerball lottery is up to $1 billion. So if you happen to win, is there one of these luxury homes in the area that you would want to buy?
Oh, man. Honestly, probably the most expensive one. It's a $6.4 million home in Eagle. It's in the Two Rivers neighborhood. It's built in the Spanish colonial style. It's pretty gorgeous. I really liked it. I thought it was really nice from the pictures because I wasn't allowed to actually tour it. But it's right on like a private lake and everything. It's got a hot tub and I think a private gym and all these other like kind of tidbits that are thrown in. It looks really nice. But with that being said, I'm not like super interested in an expensive house. Like I would be happy with just a small little single family home in the North End or whatever, or make it the bench. So yeah, I don't know if I'd probably rather spend the money on something else than a luxury real estate listing.
I love it. That's so frugal. That's perfect. Yes. So, save your money, invest that, and just get a real solid house on the bench. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us about this luxury real estate.
Yeah, happy to be on.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, check out our Hey Boise newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more Treasure Valley stories. See you then.